Agud Voch Raboisai. Leilui Nishmat was Mordechai. Typical Motzei Shabbos. There's more guests than regulars. So we're just going to ask the regulars for the names. Benny, David, that's it. That's all I know. Dave Sharfman, Shkoyach for coming. Shalom Aleichem, all the guests.
Get over here.
If you're a guest, stand up. Where you guys are from, the 5 towns?
Yeah.
Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Avi
Zimmerman. From Cedars. From Woodmere. Shalom Aleichem. Who else? Doc, you're not a guest. Who's the guy next to you?
My son.
Son. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
And grandson.
Wow.
Avraham.
Beniyaminov. Shalom Aleichem. And the son, and grandson? You with him? From where? You live in Gimel over there? Mishkefayim. Yeah. Okay. Regards to Meir Planka. Who else? Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Dov Hannon. From? Also Mishkefayim.
Taki's recruit.
Really? Oh, that was the story with the Tesla?
No.
That's a different story. Okay. Menachem Katz, Shalom Reb Eli Shlita. My name is Menachem Katz and I live in Brooklyn, New York. I did the daf with the Rebbe from brachas to ksubas, but I had to stop because of the hours of Mesifta. It gives me tremendous ideas throughout my learning, and it's mamish like I learned it yesterday with all the charts that I really worked so hard on. So what's the reason I'm reaching out? One is Akar Zatoiv, for allowing and giving us someone to call Rebbe. And 2 is that my shir found out today that Rebbe is related to our Rebbe, your mothers or sisters, Zellinger. Yes, I'm related to Zellinger, Shalom Aleichem, my cousin Zellinger, Shalom Aleichem. I don't know which one, but okay. Thanks for everything. This is from Shapsi Cohen. Why is he not here tonight? Maybe he'll come soon. Huh? His brother made a mitzvah. He's right. Dual family, Reb Eli, small world. This week, Baruch Hashem, my sister got engaged. I didn't know he has like 18 siblings. So I guess this is one of the last. Besides that brother who needs a shidduch. Baruch Hashem, my sister got engaged to Yossi. I don't know how to pronounce this. Touitou. Tweeto from Montreal. Thought it was just another brother-in-law. But when we joined him to our family group, I noticed the enclosed message. 2 groups in common. Connections, connection, and MDY full daf. So it turns out we've really been MDY family for years. Shapsi Cohen, 7, I like this, that's why I put it in. 700 daf since Rosh Hashanah. Shapsi Cohen? So Ira Binowitz is this is like grandchildren because you're a crew from your dad. So Shapsi Cohen is a grandchild of Dr. Rabinowitz. I hear Givaldic. Hi Reb Eli, good morning. Reb Eli said, please find attached letter from my chaver Laser Diamond. Have a wonderful day, Mati Pearl. Now take this off for a second. I'm going to read this don't put it back. Dear Reb Eli Stefansky, I like your Daf Yomi shir. A lot of chizuk. Give me a lot of chizuk. Make every day. Shem should bless you with lots of something from Laser Diamond, Brooklyn, New York. Givaldic. NDY status clips reached 613 participants. You received 30 seconds of highlights, etc., etc. And somebody thought I would get a good laugh from this. Have a great day. Beniyaminov Gutman, live from Durham, Amud Aleph. Basically, I guess there was the story about the kid that lost all his Lego. So Dr. Eli Stefansky says, trauma is trauma. It doesn't matter from what. From Lego, not from Lego. I got... Didn't come with the Lego?
No, in the video.
Oh, we mean during the live share? There's a lot of... very nice. Got it. Okay, Rabbi, so here we go. Hardly any sponsors, Baruch Hashem. I mean, not Baruch Hashem, Chas v'Shalom. Koil month, may we merit to crown Hashem. The Masech is sponsored by Lakewood NJ families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best. Segula. Paras HaChodesh, last day. Leilui Nishmat, Avraham, Levi, Ben Ester, and Gavriel, Beniyaminov. That was a big tongue twister the whole month. I don't want to say anything, but today's the last day. The Neshama should have an aliyah. Paras HaChodesh, in honor of Reb Eli Siyum HaShas, and all them the wires. Parnas HaChodesh li Nishmat Zechariah ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh Rochel bas Leba for Refuah Shnei b'Karev. Parnas HaChodesh li Nishmat Zechariah bas Yosef. Art of the month, Yosef and Chai is Sarah for all the zechusim that come from supporting Limud Torah. And now we're just going to do some musagim and shas that we learned this week. Mashi Kona Eved, Kona Rabbi, that Eved Knani, whatever he acquires goes immediately to his master. But there's one way around it, and that's Al Menashe in the Rabbi Rishus Boy, according to one man, the Omar. Sometimes it doesn't work. We saw Reb Meir. And this is just one chart that we did, but I figured it's not so much a Yedis Shas chart, but they are Yedis Shas. Gita v'yadei ba'im ke'echad, and that is that he acquires his get together. Could I see it over there or no? No Rishus for that. Zchusu lo'eved. There's a question whether or not it's a zechus for the slave to go out. So therefore, could somebody be zoicha for him? We also learned the idea of riboy miyot and riboy, which, if we want to talk about it for a second, there's a difference between klal prat klal and riboy miyot. Riboy klal prat klal. Basically, the prat excludes many things. And when you do a riboy miyot riboy, it only excludes one thing. Tzroiros, we just mentioned in passing, tzroiros b'shalom nezek shalom, and that's a certain type of hezek of tzroiros. If an animal shoots out a stone, so it's a machlokes whether or not he pays full damage or half damage. Grama bin izakim pater, if you just cause something to be damaged, your pater. Oh, this is a good one. Kedai to remember this one. Ein tamus v'zachros ba'oiv. When it comes to a carbon has to be mum free. Can't have any mumim. When it comes to a bird carbon, it's allowed to have a mum. It just can't be missing a limb. And there's no difference between a zachar and a keva when it comes to a bird carbon. There's no tamus and zachros. Kolaroyle biloim bilam hakeva is one of the most famous yisoyos in Shas, and that is if you could physically mix a mincha, then you don't have to mix it. But you physically can't mix it because it's too large, it's over 60 saw. That applies to many, many halachas and shas. If you could do it, then you don't have to do it. But if you can't do it, then it's a problem. What was this? The different kinyanim for metalton. Agba. What else? Mesira, Chalipin, and Meshicha. And a kesef could be according to Reb Elchanan. Ein nishba what? Ein nishba malkar kois. This is a halach that you don't make a shvua. We're going to talk about it today. You don't make a shvua on karka, but there's one exception: gilgul shvua. So if you make a shvua on a metaltalin, so I could tell you do the nishba also on the karka. And finally, there's an idea of, we're going to talk about this as well. That is, when you purchase something, so the moment you purchase it, let's say you pay a guy money for product, and the product stays by the seller. So he's not going to be that careful with it. He has nothing to gain by saving your produce from a fire or whatever. He could say, sorry, got lost, you already purchased. So in order to counter that, we say that the only time a person is kind of something is when he does meshicha to himself, and basically it's in his possession. When it's still at the seller's possession, it's not yours, so that he takes good care of it. We're holding Rav Eli said Daf Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom, and we're discussing the kinyan agav. Kinyan agav is also another yisoid that we learned in Shas. Kinyan agav. You know about peh? What's the Gemara? Givaldi. Kinyan agav is when a person acquires real estate. At the same time that he acquires the real estate, he could acquire metaltal and movable objects. So we had a shaila. Gemara wants to know, do those movable objects have to be on the actual karka? So he acquires the karka, and therefore he also acquires movable objects, which makes a lot of sense. Or, since you acquire the karka, you could acquire movable objects, metaltalin, that are in another country as well. And Lemaskonas Sugya, Nachman Seltzer wanted to know what the maskana is. I didn't want to tell him. But the maskana is you could acquire things that are not on the karka. Doesn't have to be on the karka. Toshma. So we have to bring a right. We have to prove it. Maisa b'Reb Gamliel. Maisa. Rabbi say Maisa. Maisa b'Reb Gamliel. Skenim show you boy misfina. What masechta was it? They kept on saying Maisa, but there's no good Maisa there. It was like Erevin. Maisa, and the guy had an Eruv, and people went in, and we didn't know if it's 30 Amma or not. It was like, oy vey. When is it going to get Geshmak again? Toshma, but it was still Geshmak masechta. Maisa b'Reb Gamliel. Skenim show you boy misfina. For some reason, I don't know why, there's a lot of stories in Shas, like especially the last one, all the way at the end of Yavamas, the famous story where Rebbe Kiva on a ship, here he is on the ship as well, and it went down, and the famous Gemara where he grabbed onto a board of the ship, and the Gemara calls it a daf. And Rameir Shapiro, and in the first, you can see a Gdoila, and in the first, maybe it was the first Siyum HaShas. But anyways, he brought that Gemara, that the daf, you grab onto a daf and you have life. He was on the ship with other Gdoile, Olam, Rebbe Shua, Rebbe Kiva. Why exactly on the ship? I don't know. The best I could come up with was maybe it was like their Siyum HaShas. You know, you don't know about this. But in Shabbos, I just blurted out when we were depressed and I was saying shir from my house, and like a few days in, we realized the matzah is not good. Everybody's in COVID, and who's going to watch this? So I just blew it. I said, maybe if you guys finish Shas with me, we'll go on a cruise. Okay, and it's kind of stuck. People are taking me seriously. And now it's only 3.5 years away, and I don't know how to get out of it. If anybody has an eitzah. So now I'm trying to limit it to the people that were there during brachas and Shabbos. You're not invited, Benny. What? Can't get out of it? How many? What's big? 5,000 people? That's a drop in the bucket, 5,000. Oi! He remembered, he's on the ship. So bottom line is, he realized that he didn't take Meiser. He might have taken Truma, but he didn't take Meiser. And there's actually, the Rishonim talk about it, there's a chazaka that a Talmud Chacham doesn't leave his stuff. It happened. And now he's concerned. He's on the ship. He doesn't have a cell phone. He can't contact his family and say, hey, stay away from the produce. They're going to eat it. This is their rice to eat it. So what do you do? So what he's chayiv to be maverick, he has to take about approximately, let's say 22% of all his produce he has to give away. We're talking about years 3 and 6, either 3 or 6. So it's a year of Meiser Ani. He has to give 10% to the Aniyim. 10% to the Levi. Here, let's just show it. Why not? After he takes 10%, he has 89% left. 89.5. He gives 10% to the Levi. And now that's Mesukon. Also, it's either year 3 or year 6. So now that he has 89.5%, he has 90. He takes another 10%. And he gives it to the poor person. Meiser Ani and Meiser, the plain Meiser, which you give to the Levi. Those are the two things he has to get rid of. So, what does he do? Says the Gemara, Isur Shani Asid Lamoid. The 10% that I will eventually take off. And you could do Breira, retroactive clarification. You could decide, I don't know which fruit exactly, but let my family eat. They're not going to eat the whole pile. And when I have 10% left, I'll give that 10% to whoever it is. I'm going to give it to him right now on the ship. How am I going to do it? So Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya was a Levi. Rashi proves that he was a Levi. And he told Rabbi Yeshua on the ship, listen, do me a favor. Give me a pruta. Buy for me my house, my dining room, where my produce is. A little piece of it for a pruta. Give me a pruta, I'll sell you my dining room. And it's going to be rented to you. And therefore, on that little piece of land that you own, you're going to acquire the 10% that I'm supposed to give to the Levi. Okay. What is that called, Rabbi Say? Kinyan Agav. Rabbi Shua acquires a piece of land. And on the piece of land, there's fruit. metaltalin. So he acquired the karka and he got the metaltalin. Visur acher. What about this 10% that's left afterwards? So now he's down to 89% of the produce because he gave 2% to the kain in the beginning, 10%. Now he has 10%. Visur acher shani osel lamoid, and the next 10%, nosen loy la'akiva ben Yosef, to one of the greatest people that ever lived, maybe the greatest person, Reb Akiva ben Yosef. So it was year 3 and 6 or 6, and he had to give 10% to Aniyim. Here, give me Reb Akiva ben Yosef, give me a coin, and you have part of my living room, and on that is 10% for the Aniyim. So right when I was learning this, I was thinking to myself, wow, Reb Akiva, the famous Gemara where HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Moshe Rabbeinu all the generations. When they got to Reb Akiva, Moshe Rabbeinu was shocked. He says, why are you giving the Torah through me? Give it through him. Smash from the Gemara that he felt that Reb Akiva was greater than him. This Reb Akiva at 24,000 Talmidim, greatest of the great, he's busy giving tzedakah to Aniyim. You hear this? So, Baruch Hashem, I found later, Reb Zilberstein, he asked the question. He says, why does it say Akiva ben Yosef? Just say Akiva. Just like it says, nothing like Yeshua. Does it say Rebbe Yeshua? No. Does it say Yeshua's father? Doesn't it say Yeshua ben Chananya? Rashi says Yeshua ben Chananya. Why? Because, says Reb Zilberstein, because think about it. Even though he was so busy learning Torah, he didn't say, oh, I'm busy learning Torah, I don't have time for Aniyim. And where did he learn that Yesod? He learned that Yesod from his father Yosef. That's why his father's name is brought down here. It's interesting, another thing that I saw, and that, Paiskin, they could come up with the most interesting rayas from Shas. That's Shaila. You think it has nothing to do with the sugya. Could a person give sandekos, let's say, to his father, who happens to be a male? Like my father-in-law, who's a surgeon, he likes to do the cutting. And nobody says no to him because he's a cutter, that's what he does. It's not a big deal for him to cut this skin, that skin, bemis. So, but a lot of times he's also sandik, but he wants to cut. Are you allowed to give the sandikos and the meal at the same person? So the Avi Chavetz brings from this Gemara, you see over here, no. How come he didn't just give to Rabbi Yeshua both the matnas aniyim and the meiser? You're supposed to divide it. You're not supposed to give all the matanis to one kohen. It's not a good thing. And a raya from this Gemara. Okay, Stam, he goes. I'm just saying the chachma to go from a bris milah and the sandikos to this Gemara to bring a raya. Okay, says the Gemara. Shma mina binan tzburim. Why in the world did Reb Gamliel give him his dining room? You should give him something else. Give him his backyard. Give him whatever. Maybe he has a piece of property in Tzvat. Why does he have to give him dafka, the place where the meiser is sitting on? Because you see from here that you need tzburim. The metaltalin has to be on the karka l'chayra. That's the Gemara's right. Says Gemara Shani also not true. Maybe he gave Reb Akiva his dining room because he didn't want Reb Akiva to run and try and get the matas haniyim and take it out of Reb Gamliel's house. The first moment he lands in that city, he's going to be busy. He's doing me a favor. He's taking the 10% for the haniyim. Let him take it whenever he feels like taking it. He owns my dining room, so he's not going to have to come running. But if he didn't know my dining room, maybe he'll be matriach and in the middle of the night he'll come knocking, give me my meiser on it. Tashma, another right. Again, what are we trying to prove? Do you have to pile up the metaltalin on the karka in order to do kinyan agav, or the metaltalin can be somewhere else completely? Tashma, Adoma Rova Bar Yitzchok Omer Rab. Shnei shtar is same. Let me tell you 2 halachas in shtar. Now these first 2 halachas are not the raya. I'm going to get to the raya afterwards. Zachu besada zu leploini v'kizu leis shtar. Actually, you know what? There's Yoshi did a chart, so why not? The guy tells the 2 Eidim, here's 2 guys on the field, I want you to acquire this field for the guy on the left. And number 2, kisvu leis shtar, write a shtar. Oh, here he is. So the halacha is, as you can see beautifully, did you see? You missed it because he was talking. Here, look at what happens. The shtar goes to the right, the karka goes to the left. Shalom Aleichem. The karka goes to the guy acquires the karka. Why? Because the two Eidim acquired it for him. They did a chazaka. No, go the paras, rafak, but purta. They did something in the karka, but they also wrote a shtar. But what happened was the guy said, the owner of the field retracted. He says, give me the shtar. I don't want to give him a shtar. So the giver gets the shtar. The guy that's supposed to get the gift gets the gift. Let's see inside. That's halacha number one. That what zachu b'sada zulaploini, be kind of this field for so and so. So they did. They made a kinyan in it, and also v'kisu leisa shtar. Write a document that says and proves that he's the owner of the field. Then he retracts that he doesn't want to give him a shtar. Why does he want to give him a shtar? It doesn't look good for the giver, because it's good for everybody to have real estate. It's good for your credit. Even today, right? If the smallest thing that happens to you, if you didn't pay one bill, you get, your credit goes down. If you close a credit card account, your credit goes down. Everything you do, your credit goes down. That's what he was worried about. I don't want people to find out. I want the credit bureau, credit bureau, to find out that I gave this guy a karka. By you writing a shtar, they're going to know, and then I'm going to get a ding on my credit. But they already acquired the field for him, so he gets the sada. Now, halacha number 2. Here. But over here he says Allah al minas. One is dependent on 2. You could be zoicha in the field for him on condition that you write him a shtar. And then he retracts the shtar. Since one is dependent on the other, and he could retract the shtar, so he also retracts the field. Now, this is what's important to us. For Rav Chia bar Rav Omar Rav Huna, Rav Chia bar Rav says in the name of Rav Huna, Shloisha shtaros hein. There's actually 3 halachas. Trey hodam maron, the 2 halachas that we just said, that he could retract the shtar, not give the guy the shtar, and if he says almanas, then the whole thing falls apart. Idach, and another halacha. If the guy goes ahead, I forgot to show you the last part here. Last part is the guy gets this field and the shtar. Great. Now, this halacha, Yediyan Shas, it's called shtar mugdam. If the date in the shtar is different, earlier than the date that the purchase or whatever happened, so it's a shtar mugdam, it's possible. So he says halacha like this. The seller jumped the gun, writes a shtar a day earlier. We learned you could write a shtar earlier, even though the purchaser is not there. Says Rashi, it's like a little bit lower than halfway down the Amud. Sadim Achur Leploni, Veloy Amrina, and says Rashi, Shtar Mugdamu. It's not a problem of Shtar Mugdam. Why? Because once there's a kinyan, then retroactively the Mechira happened the day before. Inami, another Pshat says Rashi, Kabai Domar, Edo B'chasum of Zachanlai. The Edim in the Shtar was Zoicha at the time when the Shtar was written, there was already Mechira to that guy, to the one receiving the gift. So says the Gemara, Kivin Shich Bekarka. Now Rashi just points out this is Reb Chia bar Rav, not the Mishnah. Kivin Shich Bekarka. Nikne Shtar b'chom mokim shehu. What is this called, Rabbi Isai? Kinyan Agav. The shtar that was written earlier than the actual purchase. Once the purchaser holds onto the field, he makes a kinyan in it. So he's kind of the shtar wherever the shtar is. Where's the shtar? Not on the field. So this is a great raya. Shmami no, you don't need the shtar to be on the karka itself. How in the world did this guy, he acquired a field in Chicago, the shtar is in Eretz Yisrael, and he's kind of the shtar. Says the Gemara, Shani shtar, the afsir da'aruhu. It's the rain here. The rain of what leads the horse? How do you control the horse? with the rain. So this shtar is part and parcel of the field. It's not, I'm selling you a field, and together with the field there's a bottle of soda on it. There's no connection to the field. Over here, the shtar is part of the field. Without the shtar, you don't have control on the field. It controls the field. So Mele, it's like as if it's one. So Mele, I'm kind of the field. I'm kind of the shtar, but you don't have a raya to any other type of metaltalin, whether or not it has to be on the field or not. Says Gemara, on this exact halacha, it says Zui Shishini. This is what we learned in our Mishnah here in Kiddushin. Real estate, not real estate. Metaltalin niknim im nechasim sheish lemachrayis. That's our Mishnah that talks about the kinyan agav, that you're kaina metaltalin agav the karka because of b'shtar v'chazaka. So we're using this case as a raya to kinyan agav, but you're just telling me, it's a shtar and it's a afsara, it's a rain, it's part of it. No, we're saying that this is a typical case of kinyan agav, not a special. So this is the end of it. This is the end of the whole sugya. From this, you see, from the fact that the guy acquires a field, and he acquires at the same time the shtar, and the shtar is not on the field. So you see that metaltalin doesn't have to be on the field. Shma mina. Another sugya, brand new sugya. If you just walked in now, we're starting a brand new sugya. Again, we're talking about agav, kinyan agav. You acquire a field, you could acquire other movable objects, a computer, food, whatever it is, because you acquired that field. It just means, do you have to specify and say, you should be kaina this computer agav the land. You have to say those words. Tashma. Yesterday, we learned all these cases that there were real cases that people wanted to give over gifts to their friends, and they advised them, buy a piece of land as a tefach al tefach, or this case, just to remind the olam, this was another case. It just takes time to load because of the size of it, I think. Here, starting. They told him, buy a sela, which is a very tough piece of land, very cheap, and okay, but it's updated. Correct. So, in that sugya, the guy said, here, it's very close actually. If you look at the case, he said, whatever the lashon was over there, but he didn't say the word agav. He said you should be kind of the sela, and with it, the sheep and the barrels. We didn't say agav. So you see, you don't need to say agav. Says Gemara, wait a minute. In those cases, did he say acquire it? He didn't say you should acquire it. It's obvious. That's not the point of the sugya over there. He said this, said that. Well, of course, he said whatever he had to say, but it's not in the Gemara. Of course, he had to tell him acquire it. So maybe at the same time that he said those words, acquire it, he also said, by the way, you should do kinyan agav. The bottom line is, says the Gemara, this is what's passing in Shulchan Aruch. You don't need anything to be, the metaltalin don't have to be on the field. You could be kind of kinyan agav. You acquire this field, and because you acquire the field, you acquire a bunch of. I was thinking also here in Eretz Yisrael, when we moved into this apartment that we live in, so the people that lived there before were both nifter, and there's a lot of furniture. So I guess I was kind of all the furniture kinyan agav. She asked me, the person said, like the niece sold it. She said, "Do you want the furniture? It's going to cost you X amount of money." I said, "Yeah, I'd rather not go around buying beds and refrigerators, because here in Eretz Yisrael, apartments come empty. We once rented an apartment here, empty. I mean empty. They took out the light bulbs. There was not a single. We came at night. We couldn't. I thought there was no electric, and I realized they took out all the light bulbs because light bulbs are very expensive. So we didn't have to buy a fridge. We didn't have to buy anything. You know, the couch. All my furniture today in my house is from that sale. I guess it was kinyan agav. Mamish kinyan agav. We bought the real estate, and we didn't have to pick up the beds or anything. It was there. But that was tzivurim. We don't need tzivurim. It could be in another city. Says Gemara. However, agav ukni binan. You have to specify. You should be kind of this right now, and you're going to be kind of all the furniture. Bikinyan agav. You have to say it. She didn't say it to me, so it's still hers. Don't say it. That's the whole problem here. We keep going back to the problem. We're talking about it. Who says it's kinyan agav? Maybe it's kinyan chatzer. We spoke about it the other day. Ibaylo. Now that we know that there's something called kinyan agav, you could acquire this field, and with the field, you acquire a computer. Does it have to be the same exact kinyan in both? You're purchasing the field, and you also purchase the computer, or you're acquiring, like I did, I purchased the real estate, and I also purchased the furniture. Or you could split it up. I acquire the real estate, and she's going to throw in all the furniture as a gift. Does it work? It's two separate kinyanim. Tashma. Now go back to the story with the boat. I am going to give you a gift. I'm going to give you all the meiser as a gift. So that's one type of kinyan. But you have to purchase my dining room. So you see, it's two different kinyanim. Shmamina, it's a great raya. It works on two different types of kinyanim. What about I acquire the real estate, and all the furniture or the produce or whatever it is goes to Shimon, somebody else. Tashma, again back to the story. The story with Reb Akiva, what happened? He bought the dining room, and what happened to the meiser? It goes to the poor people. So you see that it could be two separate people. Reb Akiva got the real estate, Danim got the cash. Says Gemara, no, not a raya. My muskar meiser. It could be that he rented it for the aniyim, so they got the property and they got the stuff. He is for the aniyim. He acquired it for himself. So he bought a piece of real estate. He gave Reb Gamliel a pruta, so Reb Gamliel's dining room is his, or that part of it. And he also acquired all the produce, and he's going to take it and divvy it up to the poor people. But it says, because he's their yad. Omer Rava. So we don't have a right for that. Omer Rava Kinyan agav is considered a very weak kinyan. It's not a strong kinyan like Mashiach or whatever. If I were to do Mashiach on this, I don't have to, I could buy a lot of stuff with Mashiach, even though I didn't pay completely for everything. But kinyan agav, he says, is different. Since it's a weak kinyan, you have to pay for everything. And if you don't pay, you only paid for 1-2 items, then the other items you don't get, unless the guy gave it to you as a gift. But if you're purchasing it, you have to pay for every single item. The ones you don't pay don't work on kinyan agav. You didn't acquire them. Thank you, the Rava. And every raya. I told Yoshi to do a little drawing here, and it's Snishke Gangen. Snishke Lungen, he was trying to do with AI, whatever, where I said we should do like one of these hand wrestling. You know, like this is, Kesef is stronger than Shtar. Shtar is stronger than Kesef. Think about it. Rabbi Yosef, if I ask you, Shaila, in what case does a Shtar work and not Kesef? This is easy. What case does Shtar work and not money? Gittin. Divorce a wife with a shtar, not money. In what case does money work and not shtar? That I don't expect anybody to know. Let's see inside. Yafa koyach hakesef and koyach shtar, koyach shtar and koyach hakesef. Sometimes one is stronger than the other. Yafa koyach hakesef shakesef poidem boyig deishes and ma'aser sheni. Oh, that's why I put it in. I took it out. I forgot. Okay, we know what pidyon ma'aser sheni is. If you don't want to carry all the fruit up to Yerushalayim, you redeem it for cash. We had the new updated version now with the woman. She took out of her pocket and she made the cash. The cash became Meiser Sheni. And if you have a carbon, that certain karbanos, you take money and you redeem them out of Hegdish. Mashengim Ishtar, you can't do that. You can't give Meiser Sheni, you can't give the Beis Hamikdash a IOU Shtar. V'yofa koyach Shtar, and where is a Shtar more powerful than money? Shtar Moitzi Bas Yisrael a get. Both a shtar and money are stronger than chazaka, And sometimes you koich chazaka, and sometimes chazaka mikoich shneim is stronger than both. You have a shneim, shneim koinim be'avidivri. You can purchase a Jewish slave with money and shtar, but you can't purchase a Jewish slave. Mashenkim chazaka. Can't do it with chazaka. You have a koich chazaka. Shechazaka mochel ayes salis b'asam midinos. Oh, and here's our raya finally. It's a tremendous chiddush. You probably wouldn't know this without this Gemara. If you are purchasing, what is it called? A franchise, a bunch of hotels. What is it called? A chain of hotels. Thank you. A chain of hotels. And there's a hotel in every country. About 10 of them. So how do you make a kinyan on all of them? So the Gemara tells us a big chiddush here. All you have to do is lock the door in the hotel in Yerushalayim, and the one in India, and the one in New York, they all become yours on that second. How do you
know what the 10 are?
Huh?
How do you know what the 10 are? This is without a store?
No, of course. It's with you paid for it. You paid $10 million for this one, $10 million for that one. So the Gemara understands like you bought one, you acquire all of them, but you have to give the money for all of them. You don't give the money, the kinyan doesn't work. As Taisif, if he paid for it, he paid for every single hotel. So then why do you need a king chazaka? You could purchase real estate with money. Okay, it's talking about such a place that you can't purchase with money. That's not the minute. Sponsored in honor of Reb Elchanan Pressman's nephew. In honor of my uncle, Reb Elchanan Pressman, as zechus for a year filled with Mazel bracha parnasa b'reva. By Greg Haber, bracha parnasa tzlacha brios for his family, Belly, and all of the and everyone doing the daf. Tomorrow is the big announcement of the Shabbos. I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but it's a big announcement. So it's whatever. Okay. It's up there. So it's what is it called? What? It's in test mode, no?
Beta.
Beta. This is the halakha we just learned. He sold him 10 hotels in 10 countries. All he did is chazak in one of them. I'll prove it to you. Oh, here's the picture. So there's 10 animals tied each one to the other. And he says, oh, you should be koina. One. Oh, yeah, that's the goat. No, that's why it has a hat.
You said his hat will be useful.
Huh?
You said his hat will be useful.
He told me afterwards that that was the first time he ever wore that hat. It was a brand new hat. He wore, I promise, special. And I felt so bad. It's like he brand new hat and put on a goat. I said, if somebody said, this year is Givaldic, it has goats with hats, and he came to learn Torah, so it was worth it. Okay. It was on the floor. I don't know why he put it on the floor. Like he didn't want to stare, so he put a brand new hat on. He thought the floor was clean. If you look around, it's not the case really. Okay. What's going on here? What's this raya, Rabbi Isai? He gives him the reign of 10 animals. They're all connected. You should be kind to this one. Be like Kadi. What do you mean? He's holding on to all 10. But when you buy 10 hotels, they're not connected. It doesn't say no. No, you're not kind of all 10. You're only kind of the one that you hold on to. Or the hotels. You only kind of one hotel. He said specifically here. I have a picture. He said this one you should be kind of. Mikani. He's not going to be kind of all 10. He said, Zu, this one. Says Gemara, Midami, Hasam Gufa Muchlakim. So listen to this svara. It's hard to understand this one. When it comes to the animals, look at them. They're all separated. They're different. But the hotels, they're all connected. The globe is all connected. That's what the Gemara says. Earth is one. Okay. Ayin Sham. Says the Gemara, there's something called Gilgul Shvuah. Gilgul Shvuah is if I have to swear on, I can't swear on a karka. You can't force me to swear that this karka is mine or not mine or whatever it is. But you can force me to swear metalton in certain situations. If I claim that you owe me 200 and you admit to 100, you're a moedim mixas, you have to swear. Once you're swearing on the 100, now I'm going to make you swear on all the real estate that I have arguments with you. How do we know this idea? Shelemah, isha, amen, amen. So first of all, before I even go into the story over here, I just have to tell you this mashal. There was a king that was walking down in a parade, and suddenly someone threw a stone on his head. So the Secret Service, they reviewed all the videotape, and they caught the guy. They bring him in, and they say, okay, you're the guy. This is you? Yeah. Okay. Death penalty. Throw a stone on a king, death. So he said, listen, I'm the one that organized all the children here to scream and say, Yichi HaMelech, as he's walking by. Look into it. They say, yeah, it's him. So what happened? He says, I don't know. Something when, got messed up in my head. For some reason I thought it'd be funny and I threw a stone. But so they said, if that's the case, okay, you're off the hook. You're the guy that brought it. So I was thinking, it's a mashal to hear. We were coming to Rosh Hashanah, and we did all these averis. The claims against us that we didn't act properly to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So you say, no. Look at me. When they say Kaddish and Shul, I don't talk. I'm not boigin HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm the guy that says, no, you're not supposed to talk. I say Amen. I say Amen b'kavana, b'kol koichai. So, oh yeah, you're one of those guys. You don't talk during Kaddish? Then we're going to let you free. Amen. No, Yosef, you don't like it? I see you making a face. You can't, not everything it could be the daf. I'm sick of that already. You got to go Amen. It says Amen here. If it say daf, fine. Akapan, what's going on here? So for the new guys, we sped up the video of Saita. We're going to do a chazara on Saita real quickly. Saita is a woman who her husband warned her not to be secluded with. What happened? Yeah. This is our Saita. This is Lachluchas. This is a real woman, based on a real woman in Shas, called Lachluchas. She had feet of a duck, a very round face, giant lips, a whole kitzer. We're very from, so we put whatever. So her husband warns her, do not seclude yourself with a certain person. And she did. She didn't listen. So he brings her to the Beis Hamikdash. Here, watch the video. It's two Eidim. And he says, Altisteri and Ploini. That's the Ploini. And she goes, and she comes back. Okay. Now, he has to bring it to Yerushalayim. That's the Nazar guy. Don't ask me what's pshat. Okay. First of all, if she's wearing white, they have to get her dressed in black. Okay, go weiter. Now they bring her to Shani Connor. They make her walk a lot and get her tired, tire her out, bring her right here to Shani Connor. And then they take a very simple basket, they fill it up with flour, and they pour it into klisharis, and then there's another kli. Then he does He takes a kaimetz with his fingers, it has to be sideways, pours it into the other one. Then you do, this is good for sukkahs. How do you know that you shake a lulav this way and that way? Because that's what they used to do in the Beis Hamikdash. Tnufa, moilech, mevi, moirid. Okay, here, the kohen helps her out. He actually, Shiloh, if he touches her hands or another thing, okay, he helps her back, forth, up there. Then they take it and they do something called agasha. You have to take this flour, touch the mizbeach. Here we go, boom. Then you fill up the water from the kiyar. Then they go get dirt from a very, very specific place. Right over here. There's a tile on the ground. They're able to pick it up. They scoop out some dirt and they mix it with the water. Oh, it's movie time. Get your popcorn. Shkoyach. It's not the first time it happened, Gershon, but it's fine. Gershon has it on his phone. It'll go, and it'll turn on in a second. Now, the Kohen writes all these, the Parsha, okay, puts it in the water, and the words get erased into the water. You see, they get erased. And now she takes the water and she drinks it. If something funny happens to her, like right over here, you see the veins start changing, things start happening. So the Kohen says, get her out of here quickly. We don't want a dead body here in the Beis Hamikdash. And then, so they bring her out, some weird place. Here, up, she blows up. Boom. Okay. Now, if the bad guy, he's sitting there. Okay, he also explodes. And that's pretty much it. When was the first time you saw it? I showed it 4 times in the beginning of Gittin. Yeah, every single day, 4 times. It was terrible. Okay, anyway. This is the Maisa. So, from the new guys, it's like, wow, Saita. You guys see it yet, this video? You did. You saw it? How long have you been with us? So you really saw it. Okay. So let's see inside. We learn from Saita. V'amra isha amen amen. So you look at the psukim. One pasuk says, "Chaval v'ishbia kohenes isha." He makes a shvuah, and then he curses her. He says, "Vo amayim ma'arim hoyle b'ma'ich latzvis beten." Going to blow up the stomach. V'limpel yarech. V'amra isha amen amen. So why does it say a double lashon? Why double? Amen Allah Allah. One on the curse. Amen Allah shvuah, and one on the shvuah he makes. And now the Gemara adds, where do we get all these additions? We're trying to talk about it. Taisus discuss. Amen imishzeh. The husband is saying, listen, I suspect that you're with this guy, but it might be somebody else also. So amen imishzeh. Amen imishacher. Amen shalisatisi arusa. Unesua. The key point to the sugya here, to the idea, to the raya is from this word arusa. I want you to swear that when we were engaged, and it's not just engagement like we have today, engaged is really, she's an Isha Sish, but they weren't together yet. Even when you were arusa, you didn't go with somebody else. Unesua, and now that we're married, Ushimeres Yavam, and in a case where he married her because she was a Yavama, and during the period before he married her, after her husband died, the original husband died, and before the brother-in-law married her, she's a shemeres yavam. She's like almost like engaged. Zakuktim. I want to make sure that then you also didn't do anything. Uchnusa. And completely. Says Gemara, Haya Rusa Echidami. So the bottom line is, let me just tell you the raya of the Gemara, and then we'll see it inside. The raya is that the only way that this word arusa makes any sense, I can't make her swear that she didn't do anything when she was arusa because there's no drinking water when she's arusa. So it must be that she's completely married, that he was mekana her. He warned her while they were married, and he brought her to the Beis Hamikdash when they were married. And at that time he says, and I also want you to swear that you didn't do anything when we were engaged. What is that called? Gilgul Shvuah. I'm gonna also add extra shvuahs to you. That's the whole raya. Now, Haya Rusa Heichidami, 10 lines from the bottom. What's the case? Excuse me. Eli the Kani law. Kani means he was mekana, kina, kuf yun nun aleph. If he warned her, if the whole thing happened when they were engaged, it says in the Mishnah, there's no such thing as an engaged woman going to the Beis Hamikdash to drink the water and blowing up. It has to be under your husband, and they're not husband, it's a chasen. Maybe he warned her when they were engaged, and she was over on his warning when they were engaged. And okay, you could give her to drink when they were married, but it all happened when they were engaged. Says Gemara, the water won't work at all. It says in the pasuk that the man has to be completely innocent. He can't have anything to do with this. He can't have any averis in this parasha. Only when he's completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Innocent. Thank you. But this shegitz, he shouldn't have married her. He warned her not to be nister. She didn't listen, and he knows that she went with somebody. He doesn't know exactly what happened there, but he could assume, and he shouldn't have married her. He's a bad guy for marrying her. So the water's not going to work. So Rashi points out, and maybe there was a chuppah. Maybe he warned her when she was arusa, and she was nister when she was arusa, and they did chuppah. But he wasn't with his wife. There's no relations, just chuppah. So Rashi says, no, that can't be. Why? Because there has to be something called, we're learning all of Masechet Sotah in one shot. Something called that the bia of the husband has to be koidim lebias habayil. Bias habal kodim lebias habayil. Okay, fine. What do we see here? Elo must be, says the Gemara, that this whole thing that he says that she was innocent while she was in Arusa means that the whole thing happened when they were Nisuim. They were completely married. And that's when he told her you should not be secluded with so-and-so. He's Mekana. And then they did stira. They brought her to the Beis Hamikdash. And when to the Beis Hamikdash, by the way, I want you to swear also they didn't do anything when you were Arusa. And that's called Gilgul. And from here we learned the idea of Gilgul. And we'll continue with the sugya tomorrow, Beis Hashem. Rabboisai, have a wonderful week. And slichas.